could wind up on a plate of seafood in front of you. And for what it's worth, the treadmill in that video actually cost less than $50 and was paid for out of the researcher's own pocket. So to recap, some guy used his own money to build a shrimp gym for the cost of 7 Subway cold cut combos, all to try and keep shrimp enjoys from getting poisoned, and somehow that is academia run amok. Now, the other common attack on colleges is that they are havens of liberal indoctrination. For years now, Fox has sought out stories on so-called campus craziness, where something as minor as climate activists delayed the Harvard-Yale game gets a lengthy unpacking on the 5. They live for this petty shit. And you know who cracked this code early on? Stephen Miller. Because back in 2007, as a student, he made it onto Fox & Friends with a story about how several school newspapers had refused to run this ad, directing people to a website that featured claims like Muslims have problems living peacefully with their neighbours. And they lapped it up.
Right now, a lot of kids on college campuses, they're only getting one half of the story. And when we're in a situation where you have nuclear threats and radiological threats and biological threats, and we're at a dangerous time in history, you want everyone in America to have a keen understanding of what it is that we're facing. And I'm frankly sad to say, right now, that's not the case.
Are you a college kid?
Yeah, I'm a senior at Duke University.
Well, you are smart. Yeah. Steve Miller.
Well, I watch Fox and Friends almost every morning, so that probably has something to do with it.
Oh, I watch it every morning, and that's why it might be smart. I gotta say, I'm guessing, are you a college kid? Is a question Stephen Miller got a lot back then, though that was probably less to do with his smarts and more to do with the fact that people just assumed he was a 45-year-old undercover narc trying to do an unsanctioned 21 Jump Street on them. But it's worth noting that for all this talk there about censorship in college newspapers, as a Duke undergraduate, Miller had a newspaper column where he routinely aired conservative grievances like Christmas is being banned, which, as you all remember, happened. He also called affirmative action misguided and devastating, and said Duke's Women's Studies department was there to indoctrinate students in radical feminism, saying a proper women's studies program would study women from all angles, not one. A pretty weird choice of words coming from this guy, who I think most women would prefer to be studied by from exactly 0 angles. And the very fact that Miller had a regular column does suggest that, as hard as it may be to believe, there was representation at Duke University for Republican points of view. And the more you listen to some Republicans complain about what goes on campuses, the clearer it becomes they don't want diversity of thought. They want one specific type of thought. J.D. Vance has repeatedly made that clear over the years with complaints like, we are giving our children over to our enemies when we send them to college. And in a podcast appearance, he advocated for doing what Viktor Orban has done in Hungary to schools, which was, for the record, to consolidate power over what gets taught in universities. And that wasn't all that Vance said.
We should seize the institutions of the left and turn them against the left, right? We need like a de-Ba'athification program, but like a de-Wokeification program. Basically, my strategy is like de-institutionalize the left, re-institutionalize the right. It is very hard. It will require men and women of incredible courage, but I don't see another way out.
Okay, first, if you are not familiar, de-Baathification was the process of purging the Iraqi government of Saddam Hussein's Ba'ath Party, something not universally considered as something we should do to our own citizens. And second, you aren't having a stroke. J.D. Vance is doing an interview with someone who looks like they went to the barber and asked for the Airedale Terrier. The point is, Conservatives have long sought to orient universities sharply to the right, and in recent years, they've seized upon a new justification for doing this, specifically to combat anti-Semitism in the wake of student protests over Gaza. And look, we've talked about those protests before, and it'd take more time than we have to fully litigate them now, but very quickly, multiple things can be true. You can think some critics of the protests were conflating criticism of Israel with anti-Semitism, and that some were pointing out